How is it that you got over 100 million followers across all your platforms, right? But you can't even sell 50,000 records when you drop. Nigga, something ain't adding up, bruh. Something is just not right about this shit. Nigga, you had Dr. Dre, D.R.E., Mr. Beats by Dre on your last record. And that motherfucker still hit a brick. Nigga, it's over. It is over with, sir. Nigga, pack that shit the fuck up. It's a wrap, sir. You might as well just tell jokes or something at this point. Or do R&B music. Because this rap shit, this just ain't in you no more. It ain't you no more, nigga. You don't got it anymore, sir. You quick to call your homies and your artists low budget, right? But last time I checked, bro, your last movie, 10 minutes past midnight or some stupid shit like that, that motherfucker looked like it was shot on an Apple Watch, nigga. So who's low budget now, nigga? See, it's funny how the tables turn. And when they do, will you still have a seat at it, nigga? Ain't no fun when a rabbit got the gun. And that motherfucker's a Draco. So let's get to the meat and potatoes, y'all. Let's get down to the get down, right? Latinos and Latinas. This is for y'all. Y'all supported this man for decades. Y'all showed up to his shows. Y'all stood in line to buy his CDs. Y'all supported this motherfucker more than we did in California. Let's keep it real. In California, y'all the #1 support when it comes to that shit. Wow. Only for this nigga to spit in y'all motherfucking face and go support and DJ a Donald Trump shit. Wow. Fast forward a few years after that, now ICE is detaining y'all family members, y'all TOs and TIs, y'all abuelos, y'all little homies. This is the same nigga y'all supported. Does that sound like somebody that does good by the people? Does that sound like somebody that's this righteous motherfucker? If you agree with Snoop, leave an L in the comments, y'all. If you think this is some bullshit, leave a snake emoji in the comments. I need to see some shit. I don't make it up. I wake it up.
A lot of people love the front-end money, but they don't pay attention to the back-end money. That's one of the biggest mistakes an artist, producer, songwriter, or entertainer can make. When that check first hits, everybody feels rich. Everybody feels like they made it. Nobody is thinking about royalties, publishing splits, performance rights organizations, mechanical royalties, neighboring rights, or ownership percentages. They're thinking about jewelry, cars, clothes, vacations, and celebrating success. The problem is that front-end money eventually runs out. The money you spend today is gone tomorrow. The car note keeps coming. The rent keeps coming. The mortgage keeps coming. The kids keep growing. The bills keep increasing. Life keeps happening. That's why having your paperwork together is so important. If you wrote the song, your paperwork should reflect that. If you produced the beat, your paperwork should reflect that. If you composed the music, your paperwork should reflect that. If you helped create a hit record, your paperwork should reflect that. Because years from now, that paperwork may become the difference between financial stability and financial hardship. Too many people get caught up in the excitement of getting paid immediately. Someone offers them a few $1,000s, maybe $10,000, maybe $50,000, and they sign whatever is placed in front of them without fully understanding what they're giving away. Years later, they discover that song is still generating revenue. It's still being streamed. It's still being played in clubs. It's still being used in content. It's still being played on radio stations. It's still being generating money around the world. But because they never handled the business properly, they're watching everyone else collect checks while they receive nothing. Now the frustration begins. Now the interviews begin. Now the social media posts begin. Now the accusations begin. Now people start exposing old business partners. Now people start saying they got cheated. Now people start saying they never received what they were owed. And sometimes they're right. But sometimes the issue isn't that they got cheated. Sometimes the issue is they simply didn't take care of business when they had the opportunity. The music business is still a business. A lot of artists focus on becoming famous. A lot of producers focus on becoming known. A lot of songwriters focus on getting placements. But very few focus on protecting themselves legally. The contracts may not seem important when money is flowing. The split sheets may not seem important when everybody is celebrating. The publishing paperwork may not seem important when the record is first released, but years later, those documents become extremely important. Because memories fade, people change, relationships change, friendships end, business partnerships dissolve, and when all of that happens, paperwork becomes the only thing that matters. Not feelings, not verbal agreements, not what somebody promised, not what somebody said in a recording studio 10 years ago. Paperwork. That's why successful business people always tell you to get everything in writing. Not because they don't trust people, because they understand human nature. When money starts growing, people start remembering things differently. A person might tell you that you own 25% today. 5 years later, they may claim you only own 5%. Without documentation, it becomes your word against theirs. That's a dangerous position to be in. Another thing people fail to realize is that royalties create generational wealth. A one-time payment is a one-time payment, but royalties have the potential to pay forever. Imagine creating something one time and receiving income from it for years. That's why ownership is so valuable. That's why publishing is so valuable. That's why masters are so valuable. That's why intellectual property is so valuable. The wealthy understand this. They don't just chase money, they chase ownership, because ownership continues paying long after the work is completed. When you hear stories about older artists struggling financially despite having hit records, many times the conversation eventually circles back to ownership and paperwork. Some of those artists made incredible music. Some helped shape entire eras. Some created songs that people still listen to every day. Yet they aren't receiving the benefits because they either signed away their rights, sold their publishing, or failed to properly secure their business interests. That's a painful lesson, especially when you're older, especially when life gets harder, especially when opportunities become fewer. At that point, many people become desperate, and desperation causes people to do things they normally wouldn't do. That's when they start going public. That's when they start calling people out. That's when they start exposing contracts. That's when they start telling stories from 20 years ago. They're trying to recover money that could have been protected from the beginning. The sad part is that many of these situations could have been avoided. Not all of them, but many of them. A lawyer reviewing paperwork could have prevented some issues. An entertainment attorney explaining the contract could have prevented some issues. A manager paying attention could have prevented some issues. Simply slowing down and reading before signing could have prevented some issues. People get so excited about getting the opportunity that they forget to protect the opportunity. That's why patience is important. Never allow excitement to override common sense. Never allow desperation to override business. Never allow quick money to distract you from long-term wealth. A lot of people are willing to sacrifice ownership for immediate gratification. Then years later they regret it. You should always think beyond today. Ask yourself, will this agreement still make sense 5 years from now? Will this agreement still make sense 10 years from now? Will I still be satisfied if this song becomes a major success? Will I still be satisfied if millions of dollars are generated from this project? Those are questions every creator should ask. The goal should be to create a situation where you never have to beg for money you earned. The goal should be to create a situation where your paperwork speaks for you. The goal should be to create a situation where the checks continue arriving because everything was documented properly. That's real business. Real business isn't arguing online. Real business isn't exposing people on social media. Real business isn't depending on internet supporters to solve financial problems. Real business is putting yourself in a position where contracts, ownership documents, publishing agreements, and royalty registrations already protect your interests. That way nobody has to believe your story. The paperwork tells the story. And that's the lesson for every artist, producer, songwriter, and entertainer watching this. Take care of the business before the money comes. Understand your splits before the song is released. Register your work properly. Know what you own. Know what you're signing. Know what you're giving away. And most importantly, think about the future. Because one day, the front-end money will be gone. The excitement will be gone. The parties will be gone. The attention may even be gone. But if you handled your business correctly, those royalty checks can still be showing up. And when that day comes, you'll be thankful that you spent just as much time protecting your business as you did creating the music.